Hi, I'm Clinton.
And I'm Pokemaster Claude. So for this week's episode of WandaVision, it was a very bewitching episode.
Hi, Thanos. We're the lamest offenders.
I don't even know who you are.
We have a small but dedicated fan base.
Be sure to visit our sponsor at BaskervilleProductions.com. All right, so welcome back. So this week we actually kind of started off with the 1693 Salem witch trials, as we get a full reveal of Agatha's backstory, which was actually quite enjoyable.
Yeah, and all these crony witches.
Old crones, yeah. So, she's being handcuffed, kind of,
BDSM.
by magic, yeah. And there's this coven of witches around her, and they're telling her they're like basically accusing her if she's a witch, and she goes, "Yeah, of course I am."
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, good. Then let's party.
She's getting tied up.
Yeah.
She's getting snap, crackled, and popped by every witch. Just getting freaking blasted.
They shoot her with some energy.
Yeah. And
then slowly, Agatha starts to absorb the energy, and these blue beams that these witches are shooting out slowly begin to turn purple.
Yeah.
And then the head witch, which I guess there's a hierarchy. These things.
Which is her mom, yeah.
The oldest of crones.
Yeah.
She is it's her mother, and her mother begins to float in the air and starts to shoot a beam out at her to try to subdue her. She says she's too powerful. She doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. Mm-hmm. And my favorite part of this scene was when her mother is shooting the beam. She forms like this crown of energy and around her, over her head, and that looked awesome. I thought that was really cool.
She looked like Palpatine.
Yeah, she kind of did. So then Agatha absorbs all of her energy. They all turn like mummified almost instantly, basically. So she's literally absorbing their essence, and then she falls to the ground, takes the brooch, the now famous brooch that we see in every episode, and don't know what she does for 400 years, but all right.
Just hangs out.
Hanging out.
Yeah.
Hanging out in that basement, waiting for someone.
She can help with Thanos' problem. And then after that, it kind of just, fast forwards to the present time, and Agatha just trolling Wanda, was pretty amazing, just down in the basement, just like, oh, you're just a rookie, don't you know these are wards here that will, you level 1 noob wizard, just trolling. And then she finally basically just admits that it's a fake Pietro, which was kind of interesting. Yeah,
which raises more questions, honestly, like how is he doing this, and everything else. So yeah, I hope that gets resolved next episode.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just a conjured, whatever. It's just a really fast ghost.
Yeah, gotta go fast.
I am speed. So then, obviously, well, I guess it's not obvious, but it's basically the whole episode is just Wanda's backstory, her entire origin story, because the whole point is Agatha is trying to figure out how Wanda is so powerful to create the hex, because Agatha didn't create that entire hex thing. It was all Wanda.
Yeah, she's jealous, outright jealous of her power that she can push this hex for miles and just control everybody almost effortlessly. And she just wants to know how she's doing it.
Right.
Because it sounds like jealousy. It's more, it's experimental. She wants to know why, but also I want to do that too. So
come on, girl, hook me up to your lessons. So the very first thing was, I guess, the basically just Wanda and Pietro's little kids in their home country. Yeah. And they're just watching sitcoms.
Her dad brings home bootleg videos of DVDs, VHSs to sell basically in the black market, and there's a very interesting scene with the mother where she's just preparing dinner and looks out the window.
I'll go check the garden.
Yeah. To see this massive civil war going on.
These guys get executed.
People are just shooting each other in the street. It was horrible.
With the blinds back. We won't mind that today.
Yeah. What's on TV, dear? Yeah.
You hear AK-47 and mortars going off in the background,
why would you stay there? That was a little. We had a big problem with that. To say the least.
Right, and it's that's funny too, because with Wanda, that's one of the reasons why she uses sitcoms as part of her hex, is because it's more of a stress reliever for her, because it reminds her of her family. So it kind of helps out with anxiety factors and stuff. And then eventually, as they're in the middle of the Civil War, both parents just get blown.
The room just explodes.
So they go flying, and then you see, it's the Stark missile that they address in Age of Ultron. That's the reason why the Maximoffs hate Tony Stark, and that's why they agreed to be part of Strucker's experiments, and basically with the Mind Stone, and that's how that manifests some of their powers.
Age of Ultron,
yeah, and it was kind of cool too, where they basically hint that Wanda's always had, well, not hint, but they just say like Wanda had some powers in the beginning, basically signifying that she was probably a mutant.
Yeah, Agatha asked her, "Did you use a probability hex on this missile to prevent it from blowing up?" She goes, "No, it was a dud."
Right.
She's like, "Yeah, sure, it was a dud."
Yeah,
okay.
Disarmed a missile for 2 days. So that's why I guess the Mind Stone has such a powerful effect on Wanda too, is because she already had this inherent ability. So then obviously it keeps going on and on. Basically it goes into the Hydra base and it shows a Mind Stone. And then it fast forwards to basically pre-Civil War scene where it has Vision. It's right after Pietro's death in Age of Ultron, and they're on the Avengers campus, and Vision and Wanda kind of like strike up conversation, and she begins to open up to him. And
he tries to comfort her, and she still pretty raw for her. She can't really handle it, so she lashes out and she apologizes. But just a sweet little moment together, just kind of establishing their relationship.
Vision discovers what Malcolm in the Middle is, so it's very important. And then after that, it goes into, I guess, the sword whole, like the entire scene with. I thought it was really badass with her just walking in there and just demanding to know where basically her husband's body is. Yeah. So because she knows that they have him. Mm-hmm. So
and then he gets directed to director Hayward, and he's like, well, I can't just let you walk out of here with $3 billion worth of vibranium. So no, you're not getting him. Yeah. So Hayward was such a jerk in this, again, just for no reason. If she's as powerful as you say she is, why would you piss her off?
Right.
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, it seemed like a very dangerous situation to put yourself in.
Unless he's just trying to goat her to do this, because he even calls her out on it. It's like, well, you could. It's like, is that all you want to do? Is just bury this body? Like, you can bring him back. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
He goes, me neither. It's weird.
Forget I mentioned it. So that was pretty funny, and it was just Hayward is just it's just weird too, because the very first episode, I guess maybe it's just with Monica. He was a cool guy, maybe just because he knew Monica before, he was okay, but last couple of episodes, he flipped a switch where he's just a total dick.
He's a mustache twirling villain, and I don't know why.
Right.
I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
He makes good points, but his implementation of them and the way he says it, it's like, you need to learn to communicate a little bit better.
Right, yeah. And also, I forgot to mention, too, is it's really important that in that Hydra base, so when Wanda's looking at the Mind Stone, it actually shows basically her future as Scarlet Witch, which is really cool. So it looks like she will get another comic-accurate costume. So she basically looked like Sauron coming out of the eye, which was really neat. And I think during all this, Agatha kind of pieces it together that Wanda is destined to become Scarlet Witch because she messes around with all this chaos magic, and Agatha was genuinely scared of Wanda, which is really kind of cool.
She outright calls her the Scarlet Witch at the end of it, which I was so happy about.
Yeah, no, it was
finally
neat.
After 8 years of this nonsense, let's just call her the Scarlet Witch already.
Why is she killing the kids though? What's that have to do with anything?
I don't know. Punish her?
Yeah. I guess.
Who knows?
She's a bad bitch.
Probably non-existent kids, yeah.
So finally, before we do our actual final score of the review, but I want to address to the end credits, where this entire time Hayward did find a way to recreate Vision, but because he sent the anal probe drone through, I guess, the hex that Wanda blasted it, so it had some of that magic chaos energy, and that's what powers this new Vision, which, as you know, it's the all-white Vision from the comics. So
looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks like the really first-gen iPod. Yeah. It was just a cool way to end it, and for me, this episode, it was neat to see the origin story.
That's why I absolutely love this long-form storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't do this in a movie. This is like what, 3 movies at least.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
a trilogy,
Right.
And I'm so glad that they're being able to take their time with it and do this. It was very slow in the beginning, but obviously they had to set everything up to this point. And yeah, I really enjoyed this week. This is pretty great.
Out of 10, what would you give it?
I give it an 8. Give it a solid 8. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna bump it up.
Oh God.
Yep.
You crazy.
TLD first.
Oh Jesus.
9.
9. Okay.
Yep.
I was with you at 8, and then I lost at 9. So I'm giving it an 8. I thought it was a good episode. I'm excited to see next week's for sure. It's going to be really cool. So anyway, speaking of that, catch our review for WandaVision episode 9 next Friday, and thank you so much for watching.
Appreciate you. Stay lame.
Bye.